Good morning, sweet beauties. Okay, here we are, and it is Saturday, April the 18th. Now, with the energies today, there's a lot going on in that. Definitely, first off, know that things are going to be a little bit unpredictable today, in that you can expect that somebody is probably going to cancel their plans, or something where somebody is going to be honoring what their body is saying is going to demand that when they speak up and use their voice, it's going to change something that already was set into motion. So expect that kind of thing can be playing out, and it's really just on you to go with the flow. Everything about this, even like whether you will have that experience come, depends on if you need to release your control around how fixated you can be in thinking things need to be a certain way. This is showing you that things can change, but also showing you that when these things do happen, something better comes from it, or there's some kind of solution that comes that otherwise wouldn't have come. So in some way, even like if you're looking at a house and you so think you want it, and then it doesn't, somebody else, they decide to stay living in it, or somebody else gets it and you don't get it, you always then do see that something better then comes, where maybe you were compromising on something with another thing that you thought you wanted. So there can be kind of a loopy, wobbly, deja vu, kind of different kind of space to the energy, where you can see things going back, and like things kind of connecting you to your feelings, or connecting you even to the bigness of life and the universe and what everything is really all about. It feels like a space that makes you feel humble and small. And actually, it's always really good when we have those opportunities in life to get us feeling smaller, or a bit more humble and grateful for what we have. It's one of the things that I haven't gotten to talk about yet, but talking about the benefits of this time now, and the house arrest, and, stopping this whole other world that had just been going along on automatic, and not in the best way, not in a way that actually considers the whole of things, and the love of things, and the health of things, and things that we now do, think about. And it's something like I always talk about, the thing about when we start waking up to our hearts, nothing will ever be the same. And when you start like having compassion for people, or compassion for things, when you get sent into these spaces that are uncomfortable for you, you gain all these compassionary gifts. I don't know if compassionary is a word, but it works here. You gain compassionary gifts that then actually make your life more valuable, because you feel things for others, and you really like have compassion, like with where they're coming from. A perfect example would be like if your son was gay, and your son just came out, and then you're like meeting other people who kids who are gay, and you'll be like, oh, you need to come out to your parents. You need to be honest to them, some kind of thing like that, is just what we gain in life, and then you're so, compassionate with other people who are gay because your son is. Whereas maybe before, like, or if you didn't know your son was gay, you weren't even thinking in those areas. You might have had your uptight opinions on it. But once a heart and someone you love is attached to this thing, you are then like, oh, okay, then, then this is, what I'm interested in now. And this is what I want to facilitate being, a beautiful thing now, and in life, so often too, we get our assignments and we have no idea like that they would ever be a part of our life. I honestly never thought I would be doing astrology. I never was this what I thought I would be doing. And even I was thinking about those people who their kid was murdered or their kid got killed by the drunk driver. And, now those parents are spokespeople for that cause. Whereas before they never would have been. Before it wasn't on their table. Before it wasn't a concern of theirs. And often on these journeys, these things just fall on our paths. And then we're like, oh my gosh, this is my everything. Oh my gosh, this is what I've always wanted to do. And, but they come by mystery. And again, so much of this energy is just talking about how, what crippled you, what broke you, what shattered you is what is to make you stronger and turn you into an authority when the time is right. And just things that our life, we've lived so many lifetimes and we've lived through so many lessons, and we're every incarnation we're trying to get it better. We're trying to make the best decisions, but we have particular things that we live out that other people don't. And there's particular things that other people live out that other people don't. Even one thing I thought was really weird was that the day that Moon Bear died is the birthday of one of my dearest friends who has the same name as me, except she spells it with, she spells it with a K too, like me. What was I thinking? But same name as me. And she lost her daughter to cancer. And I can't remember how old her daughter was, like 11. I think she got it at 8. But, but I remember thinking that was so weird that the day I lost Moon Bear, that was Carrie's birthday. And that was just wild to me that we both lost, our baby years before their time. And But the thing is, and when we die and, when we see when all these other kind of pieces come together, we were supposed to live those things, and yes, those things were marked by this distinct thing that your soul was going to experience, that my friend's soul was going to experience. These things were the things that we do have to walk. I remember too, even right before, and her daughter's name was Harmony. Like, can you even imagine having to lose a daughter, at 11, and her name was Harmony? Like, that's not supposed to happen, right? But I remember that before Harmony died, right before, she said to her dad, or when she could still talk, she said, I think days before maybe she died, but she said to her dad, she said, this isn't real. This isn't real. And a lot of people say that kind of thing about our earth, about our reality, about what we're living. But it's so much too. One of the things is that our souls never die, and we come into these incarnations and we play these plays for a little while. We're here for however long we are, but our souls don't ever die. We don't ever die. This is just, we're showing up in this view right now. We're showing up with these circumstances. We're showing up with these challenges. We're showing up with all these things to get us higher in this incarnation. But then we play it out and then we move on, but we don't ever die. So there's never the sadness of that. There's actually not to ever be the sadness of not seeing people again, because you do. You certainly do. When you step out of here again. But anyway, there's a whole big wild thing going on with life. And I always say, I believe it's best not to really know about all these things. I think it's really so much better for us to not need to know all the time, because again, it just keeps us to the phones. It keeps us to Google. It keeps us to wanting to fill our brain spaces instead of trusting that the great universe has all these things lined up. And in due time, we will gain the next token. We will gain the next thing that moves us to the next level. We will gain the next insight that shifts everything for us. You know, when we sit in that trust, life is a totally different experience. And that is what is to be happening to all of us. And that is what has been all the work we've been going through, is just getting us to remember that that's how we can live our life. But you will completely forget that if you get onto the mainstream or even the alternative. I believe that you should only be called alternative if you're punk rock. Like, you can't be alternative and have a suit and tie, you know. But any kind of news source thing is like, it's controlling you. It's manipulating you. They're not, if you feel flat soda pop from them, get out. It might be addictive. So many parts of your cells are like falling in alignment in this knowingness of, oh, but I've been following along this for forever. I've known this pattern. I know listening to these things. I know listening to these people. But ultimately, that's all the manipulation, and it's going to keep you from dreaming. It's going to keep you from going for these things. It's going to keep you totally distracted by these things that aren't actually feeding you with life. They're actually just going to show you how to live like flat soda pop. And eventually you're going to hit rock bottom, because you can't do that, because your soul is waking, because your heart is feeling, because you have compassion for things now. And that old way is just not going to work. So today, to expect that someone's going to come in and definitely test you with their emotional state, but this is very much on you to not take on, to not absorb, to not allow it to send ripples towards you, but to not have it to splash you up against something and smash you up against the wall and frazzle you out. Remember that you're going to go with the flow, and wherever it takes you, to still hold that attention on believing that this is all for your best. This is all for your best. This is all for your best. You can get anywhere right now if you can just hold that thought. And if only it was that easy. And that's the thing that we're working through on all of you right now, because if only it was that easy. It's not that easy, because your thoughts are all still programmed to the old world, so you're not really going to buy into these things. So there's the nonstop attention and repatterning to getting you better. So expect that someone today is to try to fool you, but it's important that you're not going to be taken away from this, and that you're instead kind of see yourself flowing into a better space, and one where definitely it would be best if you're out in nature. It would be best if you're doing things that are creative, even if you want to make 3 servings of some kind of food dish, just to keep yourself in the kitchen doing kind of work that is with your hands and meditative and doing things for you. You know, be very aware of those kind of things are like feeding your soul. Those kind of things are like the things that are like bonuses, and like you doing them and choosing for them is ultimately getting things in your future to fall together more beautifully. And it's, go figure, it's coming from you choosing for yourself, deciding that your feelings are important, deciding that what your feelings are saying is something that you should listen to and allow to be guideposts and directional changes that may surprise others, but that need to be occurring for you to walk your unique journey on earth. So expect for change. Fill your brain spaces with all kinds of things that are for the good. If they're not for the good, get out. We don't need you there. Only go to what feels good, and really honor the palpable space of this day, in that don't discount what you're feeling and hide from your feeling if it doesn't feel good, but honor there's ways to move through your feelings to get to something that does feel better. And what you're experiencing is what you're supposed to be experiencing. Again, there's no mistakes to this. Okay, my loves, I love you. I hope you have a beautiful weekend. I'll see you next week. Okay, bye.